When we accepted children into our home, oftentimes we had a meeting with the whole family. And we just said, like, okay, this is all the stuff that's going on in our life. This is where we're at here. And we have an opportunity to take this kid. This is what I know about him. This is what I can tell you about him. And the kids would be like, yeah, let's do it. Or sometimes they'd say, like, was that going to get in the way of going on vacation? And they'd ask, really good questions. No, it's not going to get in the way of going on vacation. The youth will come with us. We really had to listen to our kids because for us, we're not foster parents, we're a foster family. Each one of us in our family has some responsibility.
You have to prepare your children. The kids that we're bringing in, they have not been raised the same way that you have. They're going to be angry sometimes. They're going to scream over things that you think are ridiculous. And you need to understand that we're here to help them, and part of helping them is to be okay with them not being okay.
It can be hard on your own children if you bring a teen in who upsets the apple cart in terms of roles. If you have a 14-year-old who has been the oldest child, and let's say a male, if you bring in, let's say, a 16-year-old, you have totally eliminated the role of the 14-year-old. He is no longer the oldest, he's not the youngest, he's not the only gender child. And so where does he fit in this new family constellation? And so you need to work through that and have each child understand what their roles and responsibilities are. What's the relationship with extended family? How do they relate to the children that are currently in your home? What are their understanding of this new individual? How are they going to treat them? That is something that parents need to understand before the youth is brought into the home. It's a little bit late when Uncle Joe brings the other two kids a gift and doesn't bring the youth that they brought in a gift because, quote, he's not my nephew. So those are things that you need to work out, need to understand. And there may be some family members that you don't visit as often if they can't understand your new family constellation and get with the program.
It's so important to talk to the kids who are already in your family about what do you want to hold sacred. Lots is going to change, sweetie, right? Every time someone else, whether it's a baby or a 17-year-old joins a family, there's going to be a lot of change. What do you want to make sure doesn't change? What matters to you? And you might be really surprised as a parent because you might think they don't want anyone to touch their video games or they want to keep their own room. And maybe they're like, I want to still snuggle with you on Saturday morning. I still want to go, on my walk with Dad on Sunday evenings before it's time to get ready for school. So find out what is the thing that they want to continue, because lots is going to change, but is there something that cannot change? Doing all of that before kids come in can make a huge difference in terms of how those new children are welcomed.
We had a lot of traffic in our house. There were a lot of people coming and going. And even, the kids by birth, they got to understand what that's like. And sometimes they wondered, like, well, how come I don't have a therapist? Where's my caseworker? And, trying to explain why that was the way that it is was sometimes interesting. But I think it was really good for our kids by birth to see what happens in an adoptive family.
This is very much about the family adjusting to the needs of the child in the beginning. Now, it doesn't have to be that way forever. And I think to touch on that, many times the old traditional way of thinking was like, well, we're just going to be raising a spoiled child because we're doing just what they need. And that's not the case. These are kids who have a very tough background. This is a support system that you're putting in to help that child make that transition. They aren't very flexible. Ultimately, we want to help them become more flexible. So yes, it is going to be about finding out what that child has had, create your family in a very similar way to start, build that transition, settle that child in, and then start making some changes as the child is ready. We have to accept this child exactly where he or she is. That's unconditional love, to say, I accept you just the way you are.
I always think when a youth is coming into a new environment, it's kind of like, I feel for the youth, it's like someone invite them to play a game and they don't know the rules. So I always, I think it's best that when you're welcoming, first, that's the first thing, welcoming a youth into your home and define what welcoming might look like for you, but make sure it's a welcoming interaction for the youth. And then taking some time to talk to the youth about what it's like to be in this family. You know, this is what we do, this is where we go from time to time, this is what our routine and our structure looks like.
And let's look at incorporating some of the things that he wants into our rituals and make them become part of our new set of rituals.
When we started fostering, I had a 2-year-old son, and by the time we stopped fostering, I had 3 birth children, 4 adopted children, 2 guardianship kids, and a foster kid. That's my family now. And so you can see that there's lots of ins and outs and people moving and going in my house. And I had to be really sensitive to the other children, both taking new kids in and having kids leaving. I had a young man when my oldest birth son was in 8th grade, and he said to me, Mom, I need you not to take somebody for a little while. I really liked that kid, and I'm really sad he's gone. And I had to say, okay, we're gonna back up, and I'm gonna come to you in a couple months, and I'm gonna ask you what your feelings are now. And when I did that, he's like, yeah, let's get back on the horse. I said, I'll stop. Like, if this is hurting you, I will stop. He said, no, it's not hurting me. This is making me a good person. But I did need a break because I was really, really sad. We cannot do good in our families by neglecting our foundational family's needs.